That glamorous by-election. Glamorous by-election talk. 7:20 here on your Tuesday morning. Good morning. You're watching Breakfast Television. Since Sixero taking some time off this week, we've got Tracy Moore and Caryn Seolin in for Tammy Sutherland. And when we say stunning upset, I'm not talking about the Oilers, okay? There was something else that happened last night, and it was the Toronto-St. Paul by-election. And as of really early hours this morning, we do now have a result. The Conservative candidate won. Dawn Stewart beat out Liberal candidate Leslie Church. The unofficial results are 42.1% to 40.5%. So again, things are still kind of coming in. The seat has been a Liberal stronghold for the last 10 elections. We were talking about this leading up to the by-election and how important this is in terms of indicating, the future, the present of our Prime Minister, currently Justin Trudeau. A lot of experts and strategists saying this by-election is a referendum on Trudeau's performance as Prime Minister. You're seeing some results here from over the years in terms of the stronghold of that seat and how many points it has won by. And if it's not totally clear, the Liberals are saying they're going to call for a recount. I don't know where we're at this point with that, because these numbers were still really coming in this morning. And a lot of people very surprised, even potentially the Conservatives. So, Caryn, what do you think of this in terms of what it means for our Prime Minister?
Well, the conversation yesterday was what the margin of victory would be. Of course, this was a Liberal stronghold for more than 3 decades, and so it was still expected that the Liberals would take it, albeit by a very slim margin of victory. When we refreshed this morning and saw the Conservative candidate pull ahead, it was stunning in that regard. He has pulled ahead by about 600 votes, give or take, or 2 percentage points. And so that was a shock. But then on the other hand, it's almost hard to say it's a shock because the Liberals, as a federal party, have been languishing behind the Conservatives by more than 20 percentage points consistently now since their polling started dropping in the spring of 2023. So it's almost hard not to have seen the Liberals as the underdog here.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because even though the Conservatives did win and won by a small amount, even if the Liberals won by a small amount, it still would have been a problem for the Liberal Party.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Depending on yesterday, again, the conversation, how much they lost it by, and now we know that they did lose it. It's definitely going to inspire some sort of reckoning within the party because we know that voters and Liberals themselves are experiencing Trudeau fatigue. Yeah. The local Liberal candidate in Toronto, St. Paul's, she certainly didn't run under the Team Trudeau banner. So that's, and she had acknowledged that she was hearing from voters as she was door knocking that people just couldn't vote for Trudeau.
Well, when you do talk about voters and even voter turnout, I mean, the one thing in this case, it was over 40%. And when we just dealt with the Mississauga election, I mean, that was a 26% voter turnout. So, I mean, I don't know if it's a victory to say 40% is high, because, it's still not as many people as should be out there. But that does indicate a little stronger the opinion of that area.
They care.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it shows us. And in this day and time, getting 40% people out, it's a big deal because there is a lot of apathy and a lot of skepticism, I think. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I would not want to be a politician, federal, municipal, provincial, at this time in history. Ever since the pandemic, people have been very upset. Affordability crisis, healthcare crisis, education crisis, infrastructure crises, like these are all happening under these politicians' watch, and it's very clear what people are saying and thinking and feeling about Trudeau. Now, for me, I have a really hard time these days even distinguishing between the parties. I'm going to be totally honest.
Really?
I feel like the parties have a responsibility to really try and fine-tune what their messages are, because I think some of the apathy is that people don't necessarily see a distinct difference or a distinct change, the changes that they want to see happening in this country or the province. And I think that's part of the problem. So we don't know. Are we trading something good for something better? Or is it the lesser of two evils? I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of confusion out there.
Well, definitely the difference between a Trudeau and a Poilievre, there are some clear sort of distinguishers there. And I think it does depend on where people see the country and who people think is going to best lead us through to a change, because change is clearly what people are wanting, people are calling for, and I mean, it happened last night in a very big way. Before we go to break, what do you think this means now moving forward for Trudeau? Because a lot of people, even a certain Sid Sixero on this couch, did say that if this happens and Trudeau or the Liberals lose this by-election, this could be the end for our Prime Minister as leader of the country.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if we should be on resignation watch just yet. Trudeau has said that he intends on staying and sticking around. So I don't think even after yesterday's loss, he has any intention of stepping down. And I don't think that they're, based on polling too, there's no clear person to replace him who would draw in more voters or draw in more support. So I don't think we should be on resignation watch just yet. However, I think the Liberal Party will be taking a deep look inside following yesterday's results.
Oh yeah, this is a wake-up call of a big kind, not just our early one here on Breakfast Television. But we'd love for you to have your say feedback at breakfasttelevision.ca. This is a conversation that affects us all, so chime on in as you see fit.